Today, I am sharing some information about our nervous system, what it is, ways it becomes unbalanced, and 3 ways to mindfully bring it back into balance. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Live Mindfully with Laurie Moore, the podcast that invites us all to slow down, take a deep breath, and show up as the most mindful and wholehearted versions of ourselves that we can each day. So, today I am sharing 3 mindful ways we can calm or regulate a dysregulated nervous system. And before we kick off, it's important we know what a dysregulated nervous system looks like to see if we can recognize any of those symptoms within ourselves. And as a side note, I want to say it is really easy to see things in other people. So we might have a tendency to say, oh, I know Jenny experiences all of those things. But it's much more helpful if we start to practice turning that focus and that lens on ourselves. So as we move through some of the symptoms listed by healyournervoussystem.com, I want to encourage you to try to minimize diagnosing your family and friends and instead shifting that focus onto yourself, shifting that focus to an internal space. Because we can't heal or help the world without first starting with ourselves. So we all have a nervous system, and our nervous system plays a crucial role in our overall health and well-being. It is the system that alerts us to danger. It is always scanning the environment, and it is also the system that regulates heart rate, digestion, and movement, and it's always in communication with the brain. So terms that you may be familiar with are parasympathetic. This is known as our rest and digest state, and considered to be the optimal state to be in most of the time. And the other is the sympathetic, and this is our fight or flight state. And the sympathetic gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's also the system that gets us motivated, gets us moving. So it's important to remember that a regulated nervous system is one that moves freely between both of these states as and when they are required. But sometimes when we experience long periods of stress or we experience something that is really hard for us to process, our nervous system can become dysregulated. And that basically means it is locked in either the parasympathetic, which is a freeze and fawn state when it's in a dysregulated space, or the sympathetic flight or fight state. And the nervous system, whose job is to maintain homeostasis within our body. And as I said before, it connects every part of the body to the brain. It's transmitting signals back and forth all day long. It starts to respond inappropriately to external stimuli. And so instead of us reacting to situations in what might be considered a moderate or a appropriate way, we don't. And so according to healyournervoussystem.com, and the link is in the show notes, there are 10 signs that our nervous system may have become dysregulated, and these include you're constantly on edge and overwhelmed, frequently snappy, irritable, and reactive. You're starting to experience chronic pain and illness. You're highly sensitive to sensory stimuli. You experience sleep problems and daytime fatigue, chronic attention and concentration problems, cravings and extreme appetite changes, immune or hormonal symptoms, skin and gut conditions, Maybe you're highly sensitive to other people's emotional states. So when we have a regulated nervous system, we're able to respond to stress and challenges in a healthy way. A dysregulated nervous system can lead to a range of physical and emotional problems that start to hurt us and our relationships. And I've just listed off a number of things, some other things that could be symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system, could be physical or emotional, including chronic pain, as I mentioned, but migraines, difficulty concentrating, agitation, moodiness, insomnia, maybe sweating, nausea, indigestion, anxiety, racing heart. All of these things could also be signs of other things. So that's why it's important to, particularly if you are recognizing a number of these symptoms within yourself, that you are seeing your healthcare professional or seeing a psychologist or seeing a psychiatrist, because it could be something else. But if the issue is a dysregulated nervous system and you're not able to disengage from these states, even when things are going well, even when you feel calm, you still are noticing that you have insomnia or that you're really moody and you're not able to get in control of that, then some of these techniques may assist you. But again, if you feel like you are locked into a dysregulated nervous system where you really aren't able to regulate your emotions and regulate some of these physical symptoms, it is important that you do engage a healthcare professional. Like, this episode is not going to contain enough information. So the first thing that we want to do, if we're noticing that our nervous system is becoming imbalanced, is we want to focus on the breath. Our breath is the only gateway to regulating the nervous system in this very moment. And in particular, we want to focus on the exhale. So what we want to do right now is notice two things. We want to notice that the air on the inhale is cool and the air on the exhale is warm. So take your attention to your nose and begin to notice the breath. Cool on the inhale, warm on the exhale. That's it. That's all I want you to do. Notice cool on the inhale, warm on the exhale. And now forget about the inhale altogether and just focus on slowing down the exhale just a bit, taking the focus to the nose and seeing if you can just slow the exhale down a little bit. And then if it's safe to do so and you feel comfortable, close down the eyes. And closing down the eyes removes the external stimuli, which can play tricks on the nervous system if the nervous system is overactive. So just keep breathing, focusing only on the exhale. Good. So when you feel ready, you can open the eyes and just take a moment to notice how you feel. I always feel amazing. So I hope you do too. The second tip to calming a dysregulated or over or under activated nervous system, so if we're locked in a parasympathetic state or in a sympathetic state, is to stand up, take the feet a little wider than hip width distance, and sway side to side. And again, there is an option here to close down the eyes. So if you're seated at the moment and standing up isn't an option, you can sit in your chair and just sway side to side, nice and gentle. And you might like to also take one hand to the heart center take the other hand to the stomach. So we have research that shows that the act of swaying is calming to the body, calming to the mind, and calming to the nervous system. In one study published in the Journal of Current Biology, it is posited that the sensory stimulation associated with swinging, that swinging motion, exerts a synchronizing action in the brain that reinforces endogenous sleep rhythms, which they believe may explain why rocking induces that relaxed feeling. And the important thing to note here is that it works. So I always say it doesn't really matter why something works for you. What matters is that it works for you. So if it works for you, it's all you really need to care about. Another option for the swaying is to lay on your back and then rock back and forth along your spine. And if that's not available to you and you're laying down maybe in bed, gently and mindfully turning the head left to right with the eyes closed. My last tip is humming. The act of humming increases the length of the exhale and it calms the nervous system. So if you are locked in a state with monkey mind, this one's really great for when your mind is just fixated on something and it will not stop. Take yourself somewhere private, place your hands over your ears and hum. It also works to hum a song. So if you have a favorite song that you like, just hum that, or just general humming. You don't have to place your hands over your ears. What that does is that just blocks out all of the external noise. So it really helps you just focus on the humming and on the breathing. And something I have found so helpful is to hum like my favorite chill song, like a song that already is a song that calms me down. So when I'm super stressed, that's what I'll do. And I also hum to my kids. So when I can see their nervous system is locked, I'll ask them to come and sit next to me and I place a hand on them, or my daughter's 6, so I'll get her to come sit on my lap. And then I hum like a nursery rhyme. And it's so effective. And the reason it's effective is because humming creates vibrations that massage the section of the vagus nerve near your vocal cords. So chanting Om also works and also creates vibrations in your throat that are soothing to our nervous system. So I'll give you the option now to either pause the podcast or you can do this one when we finish. But humming is really, really effective. So let's just go over those 3 tips again. The first one was focus on a long exhale, bringing the attention to the nose. The second was to sway side to side, or to rock along the spine, or to simply turn the head left to right mindfully. And the final one that we just discussed was humming. So you can choose to do that with the hands over the ears, or you can choose to do that to a song. And give these a go with your kids. So when you see them locked in a state of hyper or hypo arousal, do one of these with them and then let me know how you go. I would love to hear your feedback. So you can always contact me by DMing me through my Instagram page, which is at lifewithlori, LORI_, or go to Facebook, the Live Mindfully with Lori Moore Facebook page. You can contact me through that as well. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you have found this episode helpful, please share it with your family and friends and on your social media. Have an awesome week. Check out the episode resources in the show notes for more information, and I'll be back again next week with another great episode. Until then, take good care of yourself.